I came here to party. Sorry, yeah, I know I got to clap
We
whenever.
like to party.
Was it came to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum?
What is that from?
It's from They Live. Roddy Piper, when he get the glasses, he can see the aliens.
I haven't seen it.
It's an 80s movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. I feel like I have. Welcome to Color Folk and Anime, where we talk about anime from a colorful perspective, commentary on nerd culture. I think we in episode 53. 53.
Or something.
You might be the only one counting.
We've been here a minute.
Yeah, and last episode Ranking the Kings?
Last episode was our interview.
Oh, yeah. So,
Make your own manga.
Thank y'all for messing with our last two episodes heavy. They still going back to Ranking the Kings, which is dope. That's kind of going up on YouTube. If you're watching this part of the show, or if you're listening, we are officially on Patreon.
Woo!
We are Patreoners. And you can be our patrons.
So yeah, we have our Patreon now. There's a couple different tiers that are going to be available to you. So our full video is only going to be on Patreon now. We're just going to do clips on YouTube for y'all, and then you'll still get like the full podcast, but the full video is going to be for the first tier on Patreon. The second tier is going to be some more what are you reading and watching content, especially for those weeks where we don't quite get to it in the show. And then the third tier is to ask me anything. So if you do the third tier, you'll be able to kind of post your questions, and then once a month we'll go through and live stream and answer them for y'all.
I would love to know the names for the tiers.
Oh, yes. Them. First tier is monochromatic. That's for, like you're slightly colorful, but you're not quite there yet. The second tier is Technicolor, because you're doing your thing. You are TV.
You could be
when
paying
it was
for Netflix, but you giving money to us.
Right. And then there is the third tier, which are our colorful people.
Yes.
Which these are for you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
League of Legends, Arcane, Netflix drop. When did it drop? Actually,
like December? No, November. I think.
Christmas time?
I think it was
December.
Was it December?
It was right before we went on our break. It's been sitting at 100% Rotten Tomatoes for a while.
Nothing does that.
Right. I'm like, that's kind of hard. I think the last thing that did that was a Marvel movie.
Black Panther did it for a hot second.
So which one?
Black Panther.
I think Invincible for a little bit did that as well. So this movie, which is based on a game,
That's a show.
This TV show is based on a game. Is I wanted to mention this. So it has a few writers in the story, and one of the original stories coming from this guy named Ash Brown. Doesn't make no
Ash.
Okay. Ash Brown,
but important age.
But who also did work on this is
crispy and delicious.
So the story for this TV show, he did work on The Little Mermaid, Toy Story, Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, Over the Hedge, Open Season, Surf's Up,
you could have stopped
Hotel
after the
Transylvania.
Because now it's just.
Well, yeah. Well, all that to say is,
wow.
All that to say is he's a director and he helped direct the story as well. So it's just very interesting that he's in this. How different. This feels like a unique story. It doesn't feel like a lot of other stories that have this animation style, which is just kind of like not as complex. So yeah, first released in November, and I'm gonna say, man, and it's also some people on here too that's super interesting. Obviously Haley Stanfield, everybody know her, but there's some folks on here. Even my man Echo. Oops, I'm about to let me get my IMDb up. My man Echo, who plays, he's not like a famous guy per se, but he has a role. Dang it, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Bringing it up, guys. It's coming. I don't have my computer, so I'm not able to switch as cool as I
just
usually
noticed
am.
your socks.
Oh, yeah, Easy E. He was once a thug from. No, I ain't gonna get flagged. But it's a lot of folks on this cast. Not a lot known, but a lot of them have done voiceover work. Haley Stanfield, everybody knows her. And my man Reed Shannon, Echo. And the only reason I want to point this out because he was also in. Y'all ever seen Canal Street?
I've heard of it though.
It's like an indie film, and it was based on Memphis, and it kind of got really big. And so I just think it's interesting that some of these folks are known, some of these folks aren't. Like old girl who plays I'm gonna say the British chick, her mom, who played in Underground as well. So if y'all ever seen Underground with Smiley's sister,
the voice acting in this was superb.
It was superb. That's what I was
so good.
Yeah, that's what I want to highlight because all of them have voice acting tidbits except Echo. So all I had to say is man, I ain't gonna lie, man, I enjoyed the show. I liked it. I have some things, so that's why we're gonna get into our impression of the show. I liked it a lot.
Now none of us play League, but
none of us play League.
I mean,
explain.
I know I've never played it. Like I could tell you who some of the characters are, but that's about as much as I know.
And apparently, these two sisters are on the game.
They're on
according
the
to
is that their story in the game?
I don't know.
Nah,
I don't know how the game stories work. That's the thing.
I don't think the game goes that deep into these stories.
Well, I guess we got to start playing it.
I was like, because this show makes me want to try playing League. I'm like,
because it's just, I mean, you know what it is, right? What the game is like.
It's like a MMO.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
but it's like
RPG.
I don't even know what MOBA. I think they're called.
Okay.
I think that's the genre of games or whatever. But it's like the massive. It's kind of like a battle royale, but like with lots of folks.
When I watched it reminds me of Pokemon
I don't know what's
Unite,
going on.
but because that's the game that I was playing when I was watching
sort of,
it.
Kind of, yeah. I think that would be in the same genre, not quite to the same scale, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So for our viewers that play it, let us know if the story matches with the game.
Yeah.
Is there a story mode that I could dive into shit like this?
Yeah, because I don't like playing online games. Because like Pokemon Unite for me has been fun, but like I don't like playing online stuff that much because I get real competitive and I get upset when I lose.
This is more like
you just keep ranking down. That one night you just cut.
No, see, I have yet to lose a ranked match in Pokemon.
Yeah, this is more like the game is actually more like World of Warcraft, more of that style of game. It's not that story heavy as far as like a narrative that follows just
World of Warcraft.
I'm like, where they get all the shit from then?
That's the thing is like
my man.
Because I mean that's the thing is because it's
what I'm saying.
Supposedly it was like an original story. So
right.
So they just were like, I like the way these characters look. They're sisters. Let's give them the most
it takes place in the world of the game. So like also like Jace is a playable character.
Yeah.
So like all of the main characters, so like all the main characters in the show are playable characters in the game.
But these aren't necessarily their stories in the game.
I don't know. That's the thing.
No, there's not that.
Oh, we gotta find out.
I keep trying to tell you.
But
like they're like, but are they related to each other?
It's not an RPG, okay?
Chris, none of us has played it. We don't know.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, but also based on this is not like the story is an original story, so it's not like the story was explored this deep in the game, according to the actual Wikipedia article of the TV show. So, but other than that, what was y'all impressions of the show? Like first impressions?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it at first.
I didn't know where it was going.
I didn't like it probably the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
For one, because I am not a huge fan of the art style. I don't know, just kind of.
Did you like Into the Spider-Verse?
I'm about to say it was very close to Into the Spider-Verse.
I did, but at the same time, like the story for Into the Spider-Verse was great, but again, I wasn't super enamored with the animation.
Oh.
So I don't know. Like I'm like really picky. Like I'm not super picky, but if I don't like the way something looks, like it's kind of a turnoff. You know, so like I kept watching it because I heard it was really good. Like everybody been talking about it. Cooper's talking about it. One of my wife's cousins, we had just visited him, and then he was watching it. My guy Danny, and he told me it was super good, and he's never played the game either, but like really loved it. So I mean, I was invested in the fact that it was supposed to be really good, and so I hung in there. And like after like I think at the end of the second episode, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it one more episode. And then third episode was like on point.
Yeah, then because
Yeah.
that's when they flipped the switch.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna lie. See, I told you I was gonna do that. Story wise, I felt the exact same way because I was like, y'all don't got me with these two little girls and these
with the little street urchin. Yeah, like I've seen that story a lot.
I'm a sister with a little sister. They had me.
Nah.
They had me.
Nah. Then it was like, then the second episode was like, oh, they grew up. But then, like you said, as it got more complex, everybody's story got more complex. I was like, and the motivation started to
because you start adding layers. Yeah, exactly. You start adding extra other characters. You know, like you introduce the scientist is Jace, right? The dude in the academy.
Yeah,
you introduce Jace.
Homie,
Yeah, exactly. So you introduce all these characters, and
so
I mean, after that, like I was like, the story is fantastic. Like. Super props to the writers because the story is fantastic. Like every level of it, like the characters, like how they intertwine, like I mean, and apparently there's a lot of Easter eggs for like characters that they introduced in the show that will be big characters in the second season that are big characters in the game.
Oh, okay.
So like when they're in one of the taverns, there's somebody sitting in the corner who's like a big game character who will be a big player the second season apparently. So like that little stuff like that where like they're already prepping you for a big second season. You know, by like little Easter eggs here and there. Which is dope, you know.
Because I was definitely at the end of it being like, I want more.
Like, I think
where's the rest?
I don't know that they've actually officially confirmed the second season, but they are. I mean, they're already talking about it.
I would be so sad.
I mean, Netflix. Well, we already know about Netflix. Netflix has they're spending too much money to not pass on some of these shows. Like Cowboy Bebop is unanimously trash, but this is a little bit different. It piques everybody's interest. It's based on a game, and I think that where it ended off was like.
Have y'all heard any people that play the game not liking this?
Nah, not that I've heard of. No.
I've not seen that on the internet because that's the only place I would see that. I don't know anybody that plays those style of games.
Right. Well, we do. I mean, I'm sure because I know Cooper does, but I don't know about many of our viewers that do otherwise. But
right, I haven't heard nobody because I've been in Facebook groups. And the first time something's trash, everybody's like, "This is trash." Like Cowboy Bebop. Like as soon as that came out, trash. Everybody's like,
young people seem to like Cowboy Bebop though, which is weird. That's why I don't like young people.
Oh my god,
the youth.
The youth.
First impressions. This show had a lot centered around relationships. The dynamics of relationships, I think, was the crux of the whole show.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are bigger themes about the greater good and things like that, but everybody's motivation was kind of put in motion or born out of a broken relationship or a built relationship, i.e., the sisters. And i.e. my man Jace and homegirl he was feeling or whatever the case may be, like a new motivation to do stuff. But I guess my question for y'all is, out of these character relationships, like what's resonated with you the most?
I think for me, it's obviously the sisters. Like I said, I'm a sister to a little sister, and we're very close. And so a lot of the stuff that they like go through and their attitudes towards each other, especially in the beginning of their relationship, resonated with me a lot.
Yeah.
And so like then watching it and thinking about my little sister going through it, I did get a little emotional because I was like, I'd fucking like, you know what I mean? Kind of thing like that. So like in that respect, I especially in the beginning, I got hooked right away. But outside of that, I don't know. I think the relationship of the leader girl and her mom, the warmonger mom, was interesting. We gonna get these names right when they got
episode. It don't even matter
when they got there, right? Her relationship with her mom was interesting when they started really like pulling that out, and like how her mom at the end like admits like, I got rid of you because you made me weak, kind of thing. And then that kind of that was an interesting thing with all of the parents, right? in the
That was Sky,
in the
right?
show.
Sky?
Is that her name? Sky?
Sky and Shula? Sounds right.
Sure.
Sounds right.
That was an interesting thing with all of the parents in the show is that they all had these daughters that undermined their strength, whether to them or to everyone around them. So like, whatchamacallit's downfall was the redhead, his daughter, the first father that dies.
Oh yeah, the tavern.
The crime lord's downfall was his adopted daughter, and like the decisions that she made. And the same with the warmongering mom. She was the only one that made the decision to get rid of her child because it made her weak and because it made her vulnerable in the same way that it did the fathers in this. And so that was another like really interesting kind of play that they did with exploring the idea of the vulnerability.
Mel and her mom. Sorry.
Yeah. The vulnerability that kids create in their parents, which congratulations. I'm talking about how your kids are going to make you vulnerable and weak, but congratulations. I'm crying.
So for those that don't know,
no context.
Quick aside. Yes, my wife is pregnant.
Boy.
So,
with a child.
Hey.
Yes, with a child.
As opposed to
an alien, not an alien.
Right.
So yes, my wife is pregnant. Thank you very much. Clap track.
Yes.
So super excited. Yeah, July due date. So July fatherhood will be upon me. So the dad jokes that I've been practicing my entire life will now come to fruition.
It's my time to shine.
It's my time to shine. None of you are safe. Because I'll be practicing on y'all.
Right.
So yeah, super excited. So my child, if it does become a weakness, I will kill everything in its path. So
which is what the dads try to do
right.
in this show.
Very true.
They literally were like,
I relate.
Fuck everybody else.
I will murk anything that
I ain't giving my kid up for shit.
Right, exactly.
And the mom was like, oh no, this bitch gots to go. She gotta go. I need to kill people, and I can't have you looking at me like that. Damn,
Right.
You're too cute.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that to that point, Mel and her mom, that was very interesting toward the end of the season because, I mean, at first I thought Mel was cutthroat.
She said, "I would taste the local cuisine."
Really? It was a lot of jungle fever.
Mom's was thirsty.
Mom's came to town and was on it.
Right,
like,
she
was
said,
like,
I
want
am
a
on
platter,
vacation.
I want a buffet, and
so
I
just got off the ship and it's going down.
She said, I like that one. Come on.
Man,
she's out here inviting
streets.
people into the hot tub with her.
Right. Facts. Yeah, Mel and her mom is interesting because I thought Mel was going to be the ruthless one at first. Because that's where, I mean, she was just, we didn't realize that she was just clever.
Yeah.
But I was sure that she was pulling this guy's
to try
arm.
to make him
Right,
start
And I was waiting for her to like make her move.
The pink meat.
Yeah. I was waiting for her to make her move. Like, as soon as he's weak, I'm going to step in and I'm going to dominate. But she never did that. And then we saw why.
I was going to say, I feel like the revelation of her mom was the thing that was kind of like, even if she was about to head in that direction, her mom showing up was like, yeah, I can't be that. I can't be that person.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting because I think about parents.
She said, I'm finna finish what you started. I said, ma'am, oh my God.
Right. I think so because I think there are a lot of strained relationships between parents like that. And because I even think about the whole kick your kid out when they're 18 thing that we do silly in like black communities, which is kind of silly. It's not really sustainable. Like,
no, it's not.
You put somebody out when they're the weakest, most vulnerable,
cannot afford to take care of themselves.
I mean, and if they
don't
somehow
even know how to
at all,
and if they somehow find a way to do that, like at 18 or whatever, and they find a way, they're gonna resent you. That's what happened to her. It's like I made it in spite of you, not because you were just so great. Say what?
She said you have your daddy's memory when she quoted
what
she said when
you
she
remember
kicked
that?
her out.
But that's just like a single mom. That's what I'm saying. It's like that, and I speaking from experience. You know what I mean? Like That's crazy. So I thought that their relation. You pointed that out. Their relationship dynamic was interesting because,
especially when they don't inspire like independence when you're younger either, and then you
you
kick me
wanted
out
to
when I'm
rely on
18,
you. Yeah,
and I'm like, you didn't let me do shit by myself this whole time, and I'm just supposed to like know how to survive.
Yeah, you want me to rely on you, like, and that's even her like. Everything she was supposed to do was supposed to be for the family. You were supposed to do this for the family. And now I'm out here making my own way. Like, I had to figure this out. Like, you didn't help me get to this. So I think their relationship obviously touched the core of me. I'll go next. I wasn't going to, like, Jace and Victor's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yo, Victor has a quote in the end, not maybe in episode 8. Where he's begging him to destroy the core.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, man, he says this quote, and I thought about this for a lot. And he said, we were trying to be great and we forgot to be good.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that because like they're buddies. This obviously the core and the technology is a metaphor for capitalism, a metaphor for like this. I would even say like this hustle culture, right? Because they're like, they're not known and they are underdogs. They're like the Gary V's of their time.
Right. Jason's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it is.
And then old boy is Nikola Tesla. Like if you think about the eventual end. The actual Nikola Tesla.
That's
funny. And so I think that when he said that, I thought about, well, obviously, I did some self-reflecting when he said that. I was like, what are you trying to say, my guy? Like, but I think about how we are taught to pursue careers at all costs, at a cost of everyone. And, like I think about the actual people that need real help. And so we go out in the corporate America and we dominate and we do what we need to do. We pay our own bills. We can buy our own stuff. We can order takeout or whatever the case may be. And you forget about what was actually important, like all along, or you forget about, especially them, they forget about where you come from. You forget about even Victor, because Victor was like, he had the moral high ground so long and he was dying. And then you find out that he has this mad scientist encounter when he's a kid. And he's like, you forgot too. Like nobody is too great to forget the real purpose and the real reason, which is helping others, which is inspiring greatness, which is being innovative, but not just being selfish, because that's where we, as a people, and especially in Western culture, we devolve into. It's just selfishness. And it's hard because it's like nobody can, like, it's hard to escape from that. Like nobody can say, yeah, man, just did my thing and I was just selfless. And it's like, nah. You took their approach at some point. He's like, I want to be great. Yeah. It's not enough to just, exist and give to others. I kind of need to be great. So I'm going to take all that and keep all this to myself. So I don't know. So their relationship, and when he said that, I was like, oh, it's not just their brothers. It's all of these symbolisms that kind of existed that I liked a lot. How about y'all? Relationship dynamics?
I kind of liked the relationship between Jason, like the professor, who's kind of like his mentor.
Yeah.
Because, in that quest of like, well, I think magic can really take our technology to the next level. The professor's like, yo, slow down. Because the last time we tried that, we kind of almost blew up the world.
Right.
And so, you had this idea that he was looking out for him. And then ultimately it's Jace that pushes him out the council entirely. Yeah. So like you have this relationship where he's been mentoring him and like really looking out for him, even though like he went behind his back and, did what he literally told him not to do, and basically blew the academy to Kingdom Come almost. Yeah. So like, but he like stuck his neck out for him, like, and so you have like this mentor relationship. It's almost kind of like, it's like an iconic relationship in like, the mentor mentee, Yoda and Luke Skywalker. Yeah. Anakin and Ahsoka. You're like, Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah, Obi-Wan and Anakin, yeah.
So you have all these like mentor-mentee relationships, and it's obviously it's a healthy thing to have. Because I mean, even in the church, we talk about, having like an older believer in the faith, and then, like a Paul and Timothy relationship.
Without a doubt.
And so like you have those relationships where it's kind of a give and take. Like you're a mentor, but you're also like learning from your mentee because
right.
you know the youth have a lot to think. They see things from a different angle. You know, they have not only the energy and the excitement of an experience, but they have like different ways of tackling problems. So, you know, you think about, you know, the boomer generation hates millennials and millennials think that Gen Z are just dumb. But like each generation has really great ideas on how to tackle problems.
Yeah.
You know, and only by combining those ideas do you get really creative solutions.
Yeah.
You know, because no one person looks at a problem and is like, okay, well, this is how you solve it and does it correctly. You know, it's a culmination of multiple different things.
Right.
So like you had, you know, Jace and Victor tackling the problem together. And then you have the input of older folks, you know, on the council, and then, you know, different things that, you know, and then obviously some accidents that happen along the way, but, you know, fortuitous accidents that happen along the way. But, you know, you have this generational idea that magic can drive our society forward.
Yeah.
They tried it before, it didn't work. So now they're worried about the youth trying it. But if the professor would have been like, hey, let's do this together, I think maybe together we can do this in a way that's safe and in a way that we can both tackle this together. I think it would have produced better results than what they got.
I think he kind of tries that at the end. Like initially,
but it's too late.
He's like, no.
Right.
And then they're like, and the other guy's like, oh, we should definitely try this. And they do.
Right.
Right. Victor was like, nah.
Right.
Victor's like that little devil on his shoulder. Yeah, exactly.
But then they do it, and the professor appropriately eats crow. He's like, you know what? I didn't believe in you. But when they started trying to like go further and talk about putting the power in the hands of everyday people, then he was like, you know what? I think this is a great idea, and you guys are moving a good direction. And like give it like 2-3 years, and you get the proper safeguards, and this is going to be like perfect. This is going to be so good for our society. But they didn't want to wait.
Yeah, he has a
so like
Jace
he changes his mind where he's kind of like, okay, we're doing this. This was good for the world. I was wrong. But then when it starts to get like further, and he's kind of like, okay, yeah, no, great. Let's, you know, think about some safeguards to put in place. And then they're kind of like, no, now. And he's like, no, wait. And then they're like, we don't want to. And
Jace has a quote. He says, like, we don't have time to wait for progress.
Yeah.
He literally said that. I'm like, what?
Like
this little young whippersnapper here, bro.
Like, hold your horses
Hold
now.
your horses. But like, and it's crazy because that goes back. We had this conversation a long time ago. Like, I'm glad you brought this up. But I think about how the young people despise the older generation.
Despise.
And some of that's the older generation's fault because they had the same approach as furry guy. In like the OG, they have that approach of everything you do is trash. Everything you listen to is trash. All the lulz you listen to is trash. Your entrepreneurship thing is trash. And it's like everything can be trash, bro, because you assume nothing can come good. Nothing good comes from
and
those
forgetting
that are
that
younger
somebody thought that about you.
Right. Once upon a time, exactly.
Yeah.
If you look,
because I'm no neighborhood old guy. I think the thing is that when younger people dive into things, they're thinking about being great and not good. So a lot of time when young people shoot out an idea, they're not thinking the nuances of it, like how it can go bad. Like, and old people know through experience, like, just like with the magic stuff, okay, this is going to go so far. Good until it turns bad. That's why we need to slow step this. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but you need workers to actually like make stuff.
And you need experience. You need to know how to be a worker in order to lead workers.
So I mean, so it's like little stuff like that. Old people just go off this is bad. And like Jordan was saying, you gotta meet in the middle somewhere. You gotta take the wisdom and the wisdom of the older people and like the vibrance and optimism of the younger people, and
it makes me think of Encanto.
Yeah,
with the abuela, like her thing was like, I built this community off of the strength of the magic given to me by the death of my husband, just by protecting the community. And then we've been bestowed these gifts. So it's like she becomes this matriarch that is a symbol in her community. You know, like family, it's important to help the community with your gifts, because we've only been gifted this through the protection of that community. And they felt pressured by that. And part of that is because the grandmother didn't share her burden with them either, which was obviously on her part, the thing that ends up tearing the family apart, because you tried to carry all of that instead of being open and honest with your family. It ends up creating this like not necessarily animosity, because I think they all still respected her, but like this kind of more like toxic expectation. Like there was a reason, and a good reason, but when you don't express that, then that feeling doesn't come across.
I don't know if it's helpful to only have visceral reactions to people when they're trying to be innovative, when they have new ideas or things that, like, it's okay to not be sure about something, but you don't have to rush to damn something or to say, nah, that ain't it. Cause like, nah, your little entrepreneurship business selling t-shirts is not it. Cause it's like, well, maybe walk alongside that person. If
you think that my idea is bad or flawed, help me fix it.
Yeah, but you have to be humble enough to listen to an idea to help fix it.
I know, but that's where it comes in. The both sides need to. So if you just tell me my shit is trash, and then I'm like, well, fuck you, kind of thing, or that's the relationship that I think the two generations have garnered with one another.
With the millennials caught in the middle.
No. Millennials regularly tell
we're getting caught in the middle.
that
We're
that's
getting
because
caught in the middle.
we're caught in the middle, because some Gen Zs put older people on the boomer half, and boomers put millennials and Gen Z. Is like we're neither of you guys. So fuck both of you.
Oh man, let's talk about our favorite and worst moments on the show. Let's start with favorites, of course. And I'll say I appreciated. What I didn't appreciate was I learned to appreciate the unhingedness of Jinx, because it made all her fight scenes look really, really cool.
So good.
So because she was always unpredictable, always had some sort of explosion. She was like young Harley Quinn, but like comic book style. Like and I was like,
she was very Harley Quinn.
And I can see if that was like the inspiration for her. And I was like, I appreciate this. This makes like all of her interactions with people just in dialogue or herself like very entertaining. So those are some of my favorite moments. Anytime she hit the screen was fighting. That bridge fight.
I
was like,
all of the
I was like, how does this go in, bro?
You talking about when she fought
Echo?
Yes.
And it went all Kakashi versus Obito.
Yes.
They really did.
I like that.
They really did.
But mine was probably, I like that. See, because I didn't like the first 4 episodes.
I feel you.
Because I thought they were going to try to make Jinx a redeemable person.
Right.
And I like that they didn't.
They made it progressively
like
unhinged.
Oh, it's okay that you killed everybody. That's okay.
Right.
Welcome back. It's like, but she was like broken by it.
Yeah.
And rejected because of it, and unhinged. And it was like, no, it's a little more realistic. Like people aren't quick to forgive something that big of an issue, and having that on your that burden will probably break you more
Which
likely
I feel
than
like
not.
at the end, she like when she's telling her sister to kind of choose, like, do you want Powder or you want Jinx? Because the reality that she knew is Powder don't exist no more. Like after everything that's happened, and after everything I've grown up with now, Powder, she's not here. She doesn't exist. If you want to love me, if you want me to be your sister, you have to, Jinx is your sister kind of thing. Yeah. That's good shit.
I like that.
I feel like for specific moments, there's not a ton of specific moments where I was like, damn. But like, I think just the overall progression of the story was super solid.
I'm sorry, Kevin Hart. And
Oh,
Like,
I just think
he's like, I already 50.
Yeah. Damn. With Don Cheadle, he's like, why you say it like that? He's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. Like, no, but the way you said it though, like, that was funny. That's a great clip. If y'all ain't seen that clip, y'all gotta watch that. Kevin Hart and Don Cheadle. But no, I think like the progression of the story, and I like the fact that like what you were saying, Malcolm, where they didn't shy away from making Jinx a villain. You know, like throughout the story. So like, you know, obviously she's unhinged, but they also like go deep into why and like the fact that her being crazy is she has a very valid reason for all the trauma she's dealt with as a kid. You know, that would make anybody crazy. You know, like you grow up in an impoverished environment like that,
being abandoned.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, you know, and then you have the foil with society where you have the rich and the rich and the able in like literally the upper city, and then you have the poor and the impoverished and the sick and the drug abused and down below, and oppressed. And you have like themes of like, you know, with like the guard who obviously mirror our modern day police, just going down and roughing people up, you know, and like looking for people and like keeping people like kind of keeping their thumb down on people, and so I mean you have a lot of parallels to current political climates that I feel like is really good. And like with a good story, we always talk about how anime always has good political and social vibes. And social commentaries.
This had a lot.
It was a lot of good stuff too, because you had like the built-in assumptions that the people in the upper city had about the lower people.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when Jason, the other scientist, he was like, oh, you know, you can't trust these vile whatever.
He was like,
that's where I'm from.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He's like, you didn't realize I'm from down there either.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm glad he apologized, because I thought he was gonna put but you're different.
Like
right, exactly.
I was gonna
apologize
if he
for
had
the
said
statement.
that shit, I'd have thrown the whole show away. I'd have been like, I like it, and I still am not gonna fucking watch this shit.
but so like that dynamic, and then how he wanted to do good. And then, but he ended up having to appease through politics.
Right.
Shout out to AOC and them.
That's so true.
Right. That's Joe. You know, I had to get there. I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but that's Joe Biden's thing, right? It's like, or what everybody wants any politician to be, right? Stand up for your ideas, but you got to compromise on all these other things.
Right.
And it's there's no way you can live in that world and not be swayed.
Like, that's not how we do this.
You
slow down.
Too
He
right
said,
now.
okay, I know you're trying to like get rid of like corruption, but like also remember like everybody's corrupt, so you're gonna have to come off that shit, bro.
Yeah,
especially Jay with Jace. Even.
Yeah,
you get a pork belly.
Jace, yeah, right. Jace gives me mad Two-Face vibes.
Yeah.
Like from Batman, you know, where you have in The Dark Knight where he talks about the iconic quote, you know, where you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Right.
Like that was Jace, because you know
he kills that kid.
Yeah, when he kills the kid. You know, like you have, you know, Jace obviously
like,
he created all this tech. What? He's pushing society forward. He becomes this genius inventor everybody's looking up to. He becomes a political figure. He's doing diplomacy, all this stuff, and then the raid, and he kills a kid in the middle of a raid. Like not intentionally, obviously, but he kills a kid. So all right, do I double down on the fact that I was here and I led this, or do I try and cover it up and then start going down that path of abusing his power for his own personal benefit?
Jace for me is like an exploration in exceptionalism.
Yeah.
So in a lot of like capitalistic societies where everything in the society and economy is based off of the rat race and people's constant need to like do the keeping up with the Joneses and to succeed on a higher level every time and trying to earn more money, life becomes about that, stepping it up or whatever in a financial type of way. And so what happens is that you have these poster children that work themselves up from an acceptable low that get up into the higher upper echelon, that act as motivation for those at the acceptable lows to continue to try and push, even though the way economies work, everyone can't be successful.
Right.
Like everyone cannot be successful at the same time. So it's not realistic for you to tell like someone to pull themselves up by their bootstraps because your wealth is dependent upon their poverty. Right. And so Jace becomes this poster child for the city of progress. Look, even someone from a lower house can obtain this level of success. Yeah. And that kind of thing. Yeah. And so it becomes this like, he's a perpetuation of that like idealism or whatever of what you can realistically obtain because someone obtained it. It doesn't necessarily mean that people from low houses are all of a sudden going to get a little bit of clout just because he's up there. But the way you frame it's so important, because if you frame it that like, well, you could do it. So now there's something wrong with me that I'm not doing it. I just need to work harder. Yeah. I just need to, bend a little bit more. I need to spend a little less time with my family, a little less time on myself.
You ultimately, and this is what with him, you ultimately forget where you come from entirely at some point. Yeah. That's the scariest thing. Like when you
I'd have smacked the shit out of him. He said that shit to me as his mom.
That's what I'm saying. Like that.
If you won't believe on me, nigga, they was finna kick you out.
Yeah, no.
I believe in you, but I don't want you. You're gone. I don't want them to put you in the projects.
Yeah. What also I think is interesting too is
what I had to do
toward the end, the people that had to strike the deal to try to attain peace between the two people was Jace and Silco, and it's like. I don't know. It's almost like, I don't know if they meant it this way, but it's almost like y'all aren't that different. Right. That y'all would have to be having a conversation with each other about the good of y'all people. Like you think that there, all this greatness and all this innovation, but at the end of the day, you still gonna have to be in a room with somebody like this, having a very important conversation. Yeah. And so I think it's but just like you said, I think a lot of these people, when they go so far, I ain't gonna project, but when people go so far, it's almost like, nah, y'all look this. Like, I'm not quite like y'all. Like, I'm one of the good ones. You know what I mean? I'm one of the, you know what I mean? Like that sentiment. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they're just the reality is, and there are always going to be realities. It's like, no, we're all the same, buddy. Yeah.
Most allegation towards other people and or groups can be said to you. You're just have the opposite argument. Yeah. So you're standing firm on whatever your argument is, as hard and as valiant as they are standing on theirs. It just happened to be opposing. Yeah. But the core principle of what you guys are saying is the same. You're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facts.
What did y'all think about where they ended though with the council? So Jace has his big speech to the council, like, we should honor the peace treaty that Silco brought to us. Even after seeing all the bullshit, right? He said, Silco, you promised to stop selling Shimmer. He's like, you halfway killed on all of it anyway. Right. So it won't be hard to have a choice. Right, exactly, yeah. He was like, we just want, like, he had all these like high demands or whatever. And so Jace's thing when he goes back to the council is like, we shouldn't govern them. And we've passed the point of impasse where it's like they can't even start to try to trust us after everything we've left them to. Yeah, we should give them their independence and the ability to govern themselves separate from us. Do you feel like that was like a good on you to recognize how out of touch you are and your inability to really speak to those people and know what to do for them in their situation? Or do you feel like it was a cop-out and that they decided that because they couldn't, even though they had the means to help the people, didn't?
Yeah, I'll say I don't think it was a cop-out, but I don't think that it's, let's talk about American slavery.
I was gonna say, it gives me mad, separate but not equal vibes. Yeah.
Chattel slavery, and when you take away that economic power from folks in the South, we're eventually gonna talk about this again. We're gonna have a conversation about, hey, you took millions, billions of dollars worth of labor and potential profit from us, and continual profit. And I think ultimately that underworld it fueled the upper world. That's how it always goes.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's how it's set up. That's how it's set up for the inner cities to pay the higher taxes and the more populated places, which end up being the more quote unquote urban places, to kind of pay for everybody on the outskirts. Right. So like I don't think it was a cop out, but I do think that the logical conclusion is we're going to fight again about this at some point.
And it also depends because like not even going as far back as slavery, but civil rights, when the separate but equal thing came up, it's like, yeah, but you control the economy.
Yeah,
so we can't truly be separate but equal. So like if we were able to split economical power somehow, then we could,
because he's talking about like having like free trade routes and unlimited access to the hex gates and stuff.
But if you gave us ownership to like ports.
Right. Ownership.
Like the ports are ours.
Yeah.
Then we can talk on equal terms.
Right.
But if you own everything and
you're just allowing me to use your stuff,
then we're not equal on that term. So I think that's the wise thing on somewhat. But if the lower city doesn't have anything to trade, anything of value, they can be stepped on again.
Right.
So
which was kind of what Shimmer was. Shimmer, here we go. Oh.
Crack in the 80s.
I was going to do an Attack on Titan spoiler. That's what it is. Shimmer's the Titans? The Colossal Titans in the wall? He used Shimmer. Remember when he used it on the first kid?
Yeah.
And they were talking about how dangerous this stuff was. And he was like, even if you use this, you wouldn't be able to like overthrow the upper city. He's like, I'm not trying to overthrow the upper city. I'm just trying to send a message.
Yeah.
He was like, so they don't come down here.
Yeah.
So they don't mess with us.
And then they come down and mess with you. That's what happened. That's what happened when black people try to sell crack in the suburbs.
I'm crying. I am tearing up.
They're like, not here. No, keep that in your own neighborhood. That's why we gave it to you.
Right. We put that
came too far.
We specifically put that in the projects, so y'all will consume it in the projects.
Exactly,
okay?
Right. We made this for you.
None of that crack in our good Christian suburbs. None of that.
No, you first.
Yeah, first.
But it was like a deterrent.
Tell me what you think.
That didn't work.
Yeah, didn't work.
Not to try. But yeah, it was a deterrent that didn't work.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community.
Oh my Lord. Man, let's talk about it. Let's move on to our diversity report card.
Okay.
And man, you said this. A lot of diversity in
yeah.
the show. I'll give my grade first. And I think I'm gonna give it an A. I think I'm gonna give it an A. I think not because of just race. We talked about that with ranking of kings. Like my issue with ranking of kings, and you explored this too. And that was like when we talked about it is different. Not only different racial backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, which there were. Socioeconomic. That was the bigger kind of. Yeah, there was a spectrum of that.
Yeah,
and they explored it. Like it affected the storyline of the show, like in the motivations behind different characters, their ideals, all that sort of stuff. You know, even Jace being as driven as he was, the whole being great and not, and eventually not doing a good thing. That in Victor's background, like how he's disabled, and that pushes his motivation.
The other scientist, he comes back, he's like, I get it now. I was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yo, I was like, this is so all I have to say is I'm gonna give it an A just because they explored everything to its logical conclusion and they allowed culture to not to hold like solely impacted, but it was present. Like their culture, their background pushed them to wherever they got to, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah. And it had a Lorax.
He was a Lorax, the professor. He definitely was. He even had the tufted eyebrows and everything.
He was so cute.
Mustache.
I smiled every time he came on the street.
Oh no,
she wants to.
What 80s cartoon is that?
Huh?
Shoot.
What, the Goonies? Or what?
No, it's an 80s cartoon.
Gremlins. What did I say? Goonies?
You said the Goonies.
What 80s cartoon, Malcolm? You're the only person that can answer this question.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Imagine
I
being
was gonna
old.
swear at you, but April gonna come after me.
Like he said it like one of us was gonna come up with the answer. No, we wasn't,
Yeah,
bro.
right.
90s babies.
My lord. What do y'all diversity report card? Where y'all at?
about-
I'm gonna give it an A too. I even think about like age diversity. Like
Without-
it's like
Yeah.
this had everybody, you know?
Yeah.
It had everybody.
The Utes and the old
They
folks.
had
the
like
old heads, the
mixed
OGs.
race babies and Asian people and white people and what may have been Middle Eastern or Latino people.
Yeah.
It had animal looking people.
Yeah.
It had
For
the
the
thing
furries
with the
among us?
ears
It had the
that was
machine guy
like
who was on the
firelights.
council.
Woohoo.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it had
cyborg.
machine people.
Yeah.
It had magic people. You know, it was all over. A. I give it an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably give it an A for kind of the same exact reasons that you said, like with not
Had
just
disabled people.
that's true. Not just the diversity of
Mentally ill
race
people.
and gender and all these different things, but also like you're talking about with the socioeconomic stuff. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you have different, you have the idea of the fringe rich, which is like, for us poor folks, they are all rich. But
Yeah.
for rich folks, there's levels to that.
Mhm.
Like so you have Jason, his small house, where it's like, hey, you're one mistake away from being kicked out of the country club. Like you got one more
Reminds me of
strike before
Somas.
you're
Right.
blacklisted at the country club.
Jeez.
And so, so you've got those rich people who are holding on to their riches by like skin and nails.
Right.
Like
They got privilege.
And then
but
males
yeah, they got
level of
privilege,
riches
but
like-
like yeah,
Shit.
exactly. But like they're one bad business deal away from having nothing. With the rest of us.
Thundercats.
Oh,
Thundercats.
Yeah. We know that one.
Thundercats the 80s?
Yeah, we know that
Yes,
one.
it was.
Thundercats, go.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the
it
80s.
aired for like ever into the
okay.
90s, but
That's
yeah,
true. That's
80s.
But so yeah, obviously you had it explored, obviously the different. It's almost kind of like a caste system, explored the different levels of. Because I mean, even in the underworld, even in the undercity, you have you had the council, which obviously are your gang lords, your cartel leaders, your all these people that are rich,
Mhm.
that if they were legit would be in the upper city,
Right.
but because they're criminal enterprise leaders, they are the upper echelon of the underworld, and so like
Yeah, I also think it's funny how the difference in how Jace motivated the council
Yeah.
versus Silco almost
Yeah.
suffocated everybody with like mob gas.
That was like that.
He said,
That
"Don't
scene
you
was cold.
remember
yeah, that
this
was a G
air?
move. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You don't
That scene
remember
was
how the
cold.
air used to be like this?
Like you forgot.
Right.
He's
Sorry.
like,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
breathing the shit like it's fine
Right.
because I
Yeah.
remember.
Because I'm from the streets. No more.
I was drowned in a toxic pool of waste.
Oh man.
Fuck
But-
with me.
right. But no, I think it's great. I mean, I thought it handled, and obviously, like we said, it handled a lot of socio-political issues too. So
Yeah.
that I think
Yeah.
goes along with it.
Word to mother.
Yeah, they did their diversity well on all fronts.
Mm.
And handled it pretty well. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't and the diversity wasn't even, it was mainly socioeconomic or political.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or haves, have nots, those in power, those not in power.
Right.
So they did really well on that front, on top of, I guess, cultural diversity. There's only one other real culture. The
Yeah.
Black girls was the only real like
Right.
other culture
Right.
that
Her
was
level-
kind of
Outside of
that was
their-
kind of
yeah.
represented.
Right. And her whole family level was like way above even the people they were
Yeah,
dealing
Yeah.
that
with.
was like the only other culture outside of that city, but that
Yeah.
city was like a melting
Like,
pot.
yeah, yeah.
Where
Yeah. I
Everybody
mean, and there's
kinda-
also Echo City,
Yeah,
which was different. It was like
Mhm.
a
it's like kind of like the Utopia in the
right.
Oh,
It's
you
like
talking
the
about
Matrix.
the-
It's
Oh,
like
Yeah, it's
it's
we're,
like
talking
we're
about
thinking
journey
of
to
it.
the
We're
journey
thinking
to the
of it in
center
like
of the world.
that's still there, like
that's
the
still
kingdom
within the
idea.
same-
Yeah,
that
yeah, right.
all
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
people are in the same kingdom.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
culturally, they're all the same.
I feel
Yeah,
you on
sure.
that. Yeah.
They're
It's like
racially diverse.
it's like the nice side of the hood.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
this
it's
was
like-
down here.
Becoming slowly gentrified part
Yeah,
of
I
it.
was
Right.
like, you live right before you get to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, right.
Like right there.
funny,
That's where my
right?
wife and I live.
It's great. It's great.
68th and Lisbon. You're like 2 blocks from Tulsa, but you're still in
Right,
Milwaukee.
right.
No, that's
And
that.
you still on the north
60th
side.
and
You be like,
Lisbon
wait,
energy.
you like,
No,
where you
I'm
live?
talking
Wall
about
Tulsa?
like I'm talking about like
you tell white people you live in Tulsa. You tell black people you live in
yeah,
Milwaukee.
no, I'm talking about like
You're on the border.
yeah, I'm talking about like
Yeah.
50th and North, where it's like
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
house got some space in our house at
Yeah,
least.
we're talking
but-
I
like-
did talk about, I was thinking about moving into an apartment building over there. And my dad was like, no,
Nah,
absolutely not.
I lived on 44th and Center, and it's crazy, big. Like
He
going,
took me back behind it where those, without saying names, the apartment buildings with the big old boulders that like
Mhm.
frame all of that guy's places were behind the place that I was thinking about living. And you know how he is with his people.
Yeah, no,
Cheers.
I'll pass. Let's talk about rating this show. Remember, no 7s. Adjustable 6s are allowed, but I'm gonna start it off with an 8.
Okay.
And that's the only reason. I have no qualms with the show. I think it started a little slow.
Yeah.
Them first 2, 3, and so I like it's a consensus. So I was like the first 2, 3. I was like what and what. You was like first 3. You was like first 4. So I know I'm not all the way off, but I think they found their groove, and so I can't be mad at the show. It's a good show, and I think if they explore it to the end of where it's actually at, like right now, even if it starts season 2 super chaotic, council gets destroyed, and it's like a anarchy.
Watch it be like a five-year time skip and everything's completely fine.
That would suck.
No, it's not-
I want to see y'all miserable, and I want to see the people trying to figure.
I think it might go into anarchy.
Because I see that being the thing. I see that
That'd be
because that
cool.
would make sense.
Because roles would be reversed.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
And I could see them, and that would be in that case the show.
Because it'll be like when shit shut down and hit the fan, like white people usually are like, "Oh my god," and black people are like,
Oh, the toilet paper.
"It's Tuesday."
Right.
No,
Right.
Like, it's Tuesday. Like, why are you tripping?
Like we sure.
Oh, you ain't got no food?
Oh,
Get
we
some
was-
hamburger
welcome to
helper.
the
Get some
club.
rice.
we were
rice
starving a
already,
long
right?
time ago,
Hot
bro.
dog.
You better make some ketchup
I'm on
sandwiches.
my last
and shit.
food.
I had hot dog and eggs this morning. I had a hot
What
dog
do you
sandwich
mean?
for lunch.
I had
pork and
stale
beans
bread for dinner. What are you saying?
We good over
Spam
here.
is a thing.
Right. So if
Right.
they
No.
if that next season starts off in the kind of that anarchy setting, I'll move this to a 10 easily. 8 for now, just because of the beginning pacing. But I love the show, love the story, a lot to draw from it. I feel like it explored a lot, and that's why I pointed out the guy being involved in all those different other great projects as well, because obviously they know how to tell a story
Right.
and they know how to focus on relationship dynamics. So yeah, 8.
Yeah. I'll do 8 as well. My thing is, I think the first 4 episodes could have been like 1 hour long episode.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't need the whole
and they
kid
could have hit
thing.
the all the major plot points.
Right.
Because I don't even like the
You think they could have squeezed all of that
well,
in one episode?
they didn't do a lot of world building before the 4th episode to me.
Yeah.
They
And the
were trying to
relationship-
build
They didn't get
the
even to the
relationship.
And the
underworld,
relationship
sort of.
was the relationship stuff was kind of surface at first, at least to me, until she ended up abandoning
Jinx.
her little
or
her little
powder.
sister,
Powder.
which was like what, the 3rd episode.
That's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think if you squeeze all that down, you do not feel their dad's death at all. If that
No, I
was an
think you
hour
do.
episode, it would have been like, oh, that's sad.
No, I think
But
you
the way
could've-
they
yeah.
did it, it was like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
No, I still think you could have got it because his death wasn't even. His death was the climax of the girl's relationship. Like his death in
His
and
death
of
was
itself.
the climax of the entire.
Yeah.
His death blew
Yeah.
up everything.
Yeah, but you didn't.
So he's important not just to their relationship; he's important to the entire story.
Well, it was
Yeah.
it was the underground relationship. It was the relationship between the upper and lower. But you didn't need. I think you could adjust that in our story. I think you could, but 8 because it ended great.
Yeah, that joint.
Like the story was great.
yeah,
The story was great. So
yeah.
I'm gonna play the game and be disappointed 'cause the story won't be great. So no.
Well, I mean, that's not a game you play the story for.
Right.
You play for the story.
Chris.
It's a game that you just
I
online.
know, I'm
Chris,
like-
we keep trying to tell you.
Right.
Don't go on there and be expecting.
She's like,
this.
"Where's Sky?"
It's gonna be it's Pokemon Unite, but League of Legends characters. I'd probably also give it like an 8.5. I disagree with you on the story part, just because I feel like even though the first few episodes were slow, I'll give you that. I wasn't a huge fan of the pacing of the first few episodes, but like what Chris said, without what happened in the first few episodes, you don't get as rich of a story at the end as you do if you start with like, bang action, skip all the slow parts. Let's get to the meat and the potatoes. Like, I feel like with any good story, you need to like set it up correctly, and so I felt like you were saying, with like their father figure and like them showing he was kind of the glue that held the fragile piece together.
Mhm.
And so like what you said, when he died, that really was what was the catalyst for everything, like everything blowing up in their faces, Silico coming to power, like the council and the underworld getting out of control. Like he was the one that kept them all under check and in check.
Yeah, but I think they could have did the Game of Thrones Ned Stark stuff with that.
Oh, I feel what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So
I haven't,
Because we all know that, I ain't gonna go there.
no,
I ain't
I
gonna go
know.
to GOT.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well,
but no, I feel like the reason I didn't give it a higher grade is just, for one, like I said, I wasn't a super fan of the art style. So that's obviously a nitpicky reason to not give it a 10, but for me, that's aesthetically why I didn't give it a 10.
What was the episode, like 6 or 7, when they did the intro before the intro with the Pusha T song?
yeah, so,
The
I
animation
forgot to
was
say
awesome.
this. The
That's
reason I gave it an 8 is because I was not feeling that Imagine Dragons. I am not a fan of that, like, swag rock.
Well,
You didn't like
Right.
the intro song?
if they
it
wouldn't
had
have
no
played it every
words.
episode,
That's what I'm saying. If it had no words, if they would have played
It's
the
intro
instrumental version,
song.
yeah,
if
but
they would
you,
have played the instrumental,
I don't wanna hear the same
Daredevil does
song.
not have no words, and it is the greatest show on Netflix. One of them, greatest shows on Netflix. No words for the intro. They could have did the same thing. They could have did episode 1. All right, we'll
That
play this
song
little
was
goofy
so
song.
good.
It's a goofy
yeah,
song.
one time.
Song.
One time.
No, that's-
You don't like
What was that
Imagine
again?
Dragons?
No, I am not an Imagine
I
Dragons
like
fan.
Imagine Dragons.
They
so
make
that-
the same song. It's the
yes,
same
they
song.
do. So do most artists nowadays.
No, that's
So does Drake.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He
I
gave
agree
you
with
5
Chris
a.m.
on
in
that.
Toronto. He gave you 5
same
a.m. in
song.
Toronto
Stop
and Houston,
it.
Atlanta, Vegas. You're not about to go there on this podcast. No.
Drake has
What?
a karaoke rotation of 5 songs.
Okay,
And
there.
Imagine
I'll give
Dragons
you
has
that.
2.
Oh, whatever.
All I have to say is, so when that Pusha T song came on, I
That
could
was
appreciate
cold.
it. I was like,
That Pusha T
oh
song
man,
was-
this is hard.
That Pusha T
I
song was good.
I was like,
first of
oh,
all, I
this-
thought it was the end of that last episode
I know,
because
I
I
did
was
too.
binging it, and I was like, where did this come from?
From
What he say? He had a
From
bar
crack
in
to
there.
shimmer.
I mean, I don't support the selling of narcotics or crack or cocaine or any of those things, but he had a hard bar where he was like, what he say? They say all I do is brick rap, but this is all it's built on. Something like that. I was like,
but these are the bricks it's built on.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
Why is this song in here like this?
That was good.
Sorry, the little rap.
I
fan.
liked the intro song and I listened to it
Every time.
every time.
Shout out to Netflix for the skip intro.
That's true though, because I be skipping the intros on everything on Netflix.
I
Oh.
don't.
But like,
man.
I
Yeah,
don't.
I skip
Yeah.
everything. I
I
just
do.
add another like minute and a half, 2 minutes to your life.
unnecessary too.
Especially if
You don't
the
have
song.
like what
See, with Hulu, Crunchyroll, you don't be able to skip the intros. You have these trash ass intros that you have
Right.
to listen to the entirety of, or skip it manually. I'm like, bro, I ain't never
Hit
trying
the
to do that.
10-second skip
You
like
can't
7
binge
times.
correctly if you have to skip the intro and the outro.
Yes.
Well, come on now.
That's funny.
Sorry.
I will say I didn't dislike the intro.
I liked the intro
didn't
song.
dislike it.
And
I did
the
listen to it
animation
completely.
for the intro was really good.
Because the show was good. There you go. That don't mean that Imagine Dragons made that happen.
Oh my
They could have put that
word.
Pusha T song in the beginning.
Exactly. I could listen to that Pusha T song every episode.
Yo.
Good Lord.
Oh man. Anyway, so who did we where we ever ratings?
Oh,
It's just you,
it's
right?
just
Yeah,
me.
just Chris.
I give it a 9.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Because I enjoyed it
Because
a lot.
Imagine Dragons saying the intro.
Shut up. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the storytelling was really good. I thought
Yep.
the character.
Yep.
Oh. I thought the character building was really good. I thought I really liked the style of animation, and I think, and maybe it's because of, because the Into the Spider-Verse was like just absolutely beautiful too. Mm-hmm. But the animation of this, I really enjoy it too. The fights in this were choreographed
really well,
beautifully,
really well,
so good. The bridge sequence was like floating around on the internet before, and I was like, oh, this is kind of really good. But then like seeing it interjected with the storytelling around it,
they use like
so
video game camera angles.
Yeah.
Like action video game camera angles.
We could do a whole episode on video game adaptations, but this, in my opinion, is the first that I've seen video game adaptation that like hit. Like
it took it from a whole nother place.
Yeah, it was like this is like people that were like, I never played this game, but this is fire.
Right.
Like all of us.
I'd be like, I would be shocked if people did, if it wasn't just like, I started playing League of Legends. Come on, right? Because I'm also
now they
like
need,
almost
now
there.
they need a League of Legends RPG. And
it can't be how it.
Play the hell out
that
of
shit would be amazing.
It would be.
I appreciated. They gave Vi, Haley Stanfield character, a little mini Bruce Lee moment when she was fighting the lady with the arms or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And she had the little.
She was working. She was working it for a second. Yeah,
she really was. When she was on that bridge at like, what was she at that age? Like 12, 13?
Yeah.
Murking niggas.
Yeah.
I was like,
she took the whole squad. And he was at the end. He was like, damn, I have to put the big guns on her. Like,
right. He was like, that's my girl.
Right.
Yeah.
So
9.
Yeah, 9. Jinx fumbled the bag on that one. That was crazy. So 9. Yeah, I give it a 9.
No, she literally fumbled the bag. Yeah, that was
funny.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway. I like that she was sympathetic, not in that like, oh, it's okay, but it's like, damn, you fucked up.
Like you did screw up.
You fucked up, and now
we'll figure it out, but you screwed up.
Right.
Like I appreciated that. Yeah, man, this was a good show. I think we all enjoyed it, even though you weren't a fan of the art style. I think we all it was a good watch. Go watch the show if you haven't. We spoiled it for you, but it's still a good watch. If you are listening this long, then you need to go subscribe to our Patreon. We talk about the future of Pokemon and whether or not people want them to exist anymore.
Comment what kind of Pokemon game you want in your life.
Yes. If Pokemon was not in the style of what it is, how would you like to play Pokemon? Otherwise, y'all know the slogan: stay colorful. Peace.